Hey guys, this is Randy,
And this is Daniel.
and we are currently on our way home from Marietta, Georgia, from a show we just played.
And on this episode of Gaming Gig, we are going to talk about our picks and thoughts on the most anticipated game category from the Game Awards this year.
All right, so most anticipated game. This is one of the categories that I think, was a surprise for me because I don't really remember them doing this. I'm sure they've done this in the past, but I haven't really paid attention to it that much until this year. And I think it's because pretty much every game on the list is a really anticipated game for me.
Oh, yeah. I mean, we talked on an earlier episode.
On the
today.
First episode, right? The first one. We're only on episode 2.
Yeah. So we already talked about, I think we mentioned how this year there wasn't like a huge game. There wasn't a Last of Us Part 2.
No.
Or anything like that, which is a freaking masterpiece.
Right.
But there is a lot of cool stuff on the horizon. So the nominees for most anticipated game are Elden Ring, God of War Ragnarok, Horizon Forbidden West, the sequel to The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, which I suppose remains to be named, and Starfield.
Yeah. Those are all, I'm definitely hyped for every single one of those. So, I would think like normally most years there'd be a game that I would be like, okay, I get why people are hyped about it, but I'm personally not. But coming up next year, all those games, I'm super hyped for.
Are you super hyped for Elden Ring?
Well, I'd say that yes and no. Okay, so
It looks cool.
I am more hyped for the idea of Elden Ring than
Yeah.
probably actually playing the game.
Yeah.
And I apologize for the blinker in the background right now, guys.
Well, you gotta put your blinker on when you're driving. Safety first.
We are driving in a car here, so.
Safety first, game second. You can quote me on that.
So yeah, Elden Ring it kind of caught me there. That's probably my least hype, but I am still excited for it.
Yeah, it looks really cool, and I haven't decided how excited I am for that one yet, but I'm with you. That's kind of for me, the low mark of the category. But all the other ones are definitely a big deal.
But for a lot of people, that's probably their most hyped game. So I don't want to downplay the importance of Elden Ring.
No. So I'm going to just jump straight into Starfield because I remember way back in the day when I played Mass Effect for the first time, me and all my friends were talking about how the coolest thing ever would be like an Elder Scrolls or a Fallout, basically a Bethesda-style RPG in space.
Right.
And how much we wished Mass Effect would have been that, even though we loved Mass Effect. We were really changing the formula of the game in our heads there. And I really hope that Starfield lives up to that massive hype that I've been building in my head for like 10 years.
Right.
And I'm really excited that I now have a Series X to play it on.
Agreed. Same here. I hope it does too. Are we driving the right way?
We are certainly driving a way. I don't think we are driving the same way that we have driven home from this gig in the past.
This feels kind of right.
Well, if it feels right, do it.
This is right.
There's a deer there.
Oh my gosh.
A buck in the middle of Marietta.
Oh my gosh.
Wow, don't edit this out because that's wild.
That is crazy. Oh my gosh, that is like a pretty nice buck going down the road. Oh my gosh.
There's some folks back home that would react favorably to such a discovery.
Yeah, we may be on the wrong road, but anyways, we were just talking. Which game were we just talking?
We were talking about Starfield, Randy. This is a stop sign, by the way.
Starfield. This is definitely wrong, by the way. Okay, we may just have to take a pause here because this is super wrong. Okay, cool.
So sorry, guys. We had to take a little bit of a navigation break there because we got turned around.
We did, but we're good now.
We are all good. We know exactly where we're going, and all roads point home.
And we're talking Starfield.
Yes, we are talking Starfield. Basically, I'm hyped about Starfield because I think it has potential to be a great space RPG.
Yeah, I mean, I completely agree. I from what I've seen, and admittedly, we haven't seen a whole lot.
Nope, not much at all. It's really good in my head, though.
Right. If it lives up to its potential, I think it's going to be great.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's got a lot of potential. So let's jump over to Horizon Forbidden West.
Ooh, okay. Yes.
So just to stay on brand, Horizon Zero Dawn is a game that I started, very much enjoyed, and then got busy with a bunch of life stuff and have still yet to finish it. And I have every intention of doing that one day, but it is not this day.
Right.
That being said, I am excited about the sequel because I think it'll be awesome.
Yeah. Well, I did finish Zero Dawn, and I enjoyed it a lot. It wasn't the best game I've ever played, but it was really good. And I think that if they take the structure of the game, and if they improve on a few of the flaws I think the game had, I really think it's going to be awesome.
Yeah, I mean, I think that in the 10-ish hours that I probably spent on Zero Dawn, I thought the gameplay was awesome, and I think the story was good,
Mm-hmm.
but I also played it pretty close to around the time I played an amazing masterpiece of storytelling called The Last of Us Part 2. So it got very overshadowed story-wise.
Right.
So hopefully they step up maybe a little bit from a narrative perspective. And
See, and I kind of am going to semi-disagree with you on this, that I'm not going to say that the story of Horizon Zero Dawn was better than The Last of Us Part 2, because it wasn't even close. But I think that the story was one of the stronger things that the game had going for it.
I really liked the lore, and I liked the vibe,
Mm-hmm.
and I did like the story. So I might have been a little tough on it there. Like I said, I think because of the comparisons I had to make. But I'm not going to back off what I said. But
Right.
but I'm not trying to be harsh on it because I agree. I think it was good.
No, I think
it was just compared to a once in a lifetime storytelling achievement
right
for me, which worked against it.
Right, I agree with you. I see where you're coming from, but I think that it had a cool story, and as you just mentioned, it had a really cool setup. It had a neat world, and the lore was neat, and it kind of felt original, and that's kind of hard to do, right now, because there's a lot of games that come out, and it's hard to make up something that is, its own and stands on its own. And I think Horizon Zero Dawn does that story-wise. And gameplay-wise, it has some cool original gimmicks.
Super cool.
I'm not sure I played, the whole idea of the, capturing and kind of taking over the mechanical animals in the world. That was a cool mechanic that I don't think I've seen in any other game, at least in the way that it was implemented in Zero Dawn.
Yeah. I also hope that they make it so that when you do take over the animals, like when you're riding the striders and all that, I hope they make the horse mechanics just a little bit better.
Yeah.
Because I never rode the horse after the first time they made me do it. I was like, okay.
Let's be honest. How many games have good horse mechanics?
Oh, 2.
Yeah.
And they're in the same series.
Which ones are you talking about? Red Dead?
Red Dead Redemption and 1 and 2.
Yeah, I mean they have good horse mechanics, I guess. I'm not sure that I would even consider those to be amazing horse mechanics. They're just usable.
Yeah, they're very usable. I mean, I got really used to them.
Yeah. I mean, those are some of my favorite games of all time, so I'm not going to sit here and dog on them because I love them. But I'm not sure that the horse mechanics are what, makes me love them.
I mean, it's not like Witcher 3.
Oh, gosh. Those are
old
awful.
Roach, I'll tell you what.
Oh, those are awful.
Horse mechanics.
But anyways.
Or those Skyrim horses. Man, those were some nimble creatures.
Those were about useless.
I remember on the loading screen for Skyrim, it mentioned horses on one of them, and it was like the horses of the Skyrim region are strong and hardy creatures. And it clearly like went out of its way to mention, don't expect these things to be fast or nimble.
They're not fast, but you can straight up ride them up a mountain. Which is
Yes,
kinda
you
cool.
can.
All right, so to kind of get back on topic here, Forbidden West, I think is going to be a cool game. I hope it lives up to its potential. I hope they make a few corrections in terms of making the base game, a little better, and I think we'll be in good shape.
Yeah, I agree. So moving on, let's go God of War Ragnarok.
Oh man, that's a big one.
I don't think it can be overstated how hyped I am for Ragnarok.
Yeah, I mean, we could probably spend a whole episode, or we probably will.
We
should.
We ought to.
Just talking about God of War 2016.
Oh, one of my favorite games of all time.
Yeah.
Easy.
And it's not just the gameplay that's amazing. It has one of the best stories in any game. It's just phenomenal.
Oh yeah, I mean everything about it is like top of the class.
Yeah.
And it also got me into Norse mythology there for a hot minute, and that was fun.
Yeah. So needless to say, Ragnarok has a lot to live up to, but from everything I've seen so far, I have faith.
Oh, me too.
Because
Absolutely.
it looks so good. The trailer we've gotten so far looks amazing. Visually, it's not like it's groundbreaking from what the previous game did,
Right.
but it doesn't need to be.
No, it already looked great.
Yeah.
What's your take on the model they went with for Thor?
I like it. I think Thor looks awesome. Just because it doesn't look like, Chris Hemsworth. I think a lot of people are going to be like, a little confused because that's the image of Thor that the general culture has been, fed for the last many years.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah, no, I have no problem with the model they use for Thor.
Me neither. I mean, in Norse mythology, Thor he's never described as a Chris Hemsworth. That's a comic book Thor.
Right.
And they're going for a more accurate portrayal to the mythology Thor.
Right.
And we don't have a whole lot of art, of the Thor yet. But I think they're going for just like a stocky, kind of like a strongman type build kind of thing. And I think he's going to be cool. I mean, he's not supposed to look like a model. He's supposed to look pretty much despicable.
I was a little surprised that caused any controversy to begin with, but,
I'm surprised that you were surprised by anything causing controversy.
True.
Yeah. But I'm pumped. Do you think Kratos is going to die?
Do I think Kratos is going to die?
Yeah.
I don't know. If it were me, if I was the one directing the game, I might kill off Kratos. But just because it would be a huge moment.
Oh, it'd be huge.
But I feel like this might be one of those things where, like, the fans kind of want it to happen. Well, I don't know if they want it to happen. They kind of expect it to happen, and they're kind of building it up in their head that it's gonna happen. And whether it does or doesn't happen, a big group of people are going to be disappointed.
Yes, definitely. I mean, I didn't play all the old God of War games, but I think I read on Reddit that Kratos has died before, and he just crawled his way out of the underworld. And he went to Helheim in God of War 2016, but not because he died.
Right, but he was there.
So I may have some faulty intel on that. But my prediction is that they will pull a little bit of a Goku situation, in the sense that they might try to make us think that they're handing the series over to Atreus, but I don't think it's going to happen.
So we're very square in the world of speculation and rumors and guessing right now. So,
oh yeah. And what a fun place to be.
But at the same time, it kind of speaks to how hyped we are for this game that we're even, you know, talking about crazy rumors that may or may not even be remotely true.
Yes. Which speaks even more volumes about the last game in the category that I'm pretty positive we both voted for, which is the sequel to Breath of the Wild.
Well, you got me. Yes, that is the game I voted for. Because it is my most hyped game of next year. Potentially the most hyped game I've ever encountered. Or I should say, it's the most hyped I've ever been for any game.
Yeah. I would agree with that.
Because Breath of the Wild, it changed the game for the gaming industry. It changed gaming for me. It made gaming something that, you know, as a kid I liked to game, you know, but I kind of got out of it. And Breath of the Wild and the Switch brought me back to gaming. Like,
Yeah.
you know, really brought me back. And yeah, so I'm super excited for this.
Oh, yeah. I mean, if it can't be overstated how hyped I am for Ragnarok, you should not even try to state how hyped I am for Breath of the Wild 2.
Right, yeah.
Because, I mean, of all the things you said and then some, I mean, it completely changed the formula of an already super successful series that we both already loved.
Yep.
And somehow made it, in my opinion, the best 3D Zelda ever.
Oh yeah, definitely. It's definitely the best 3D Zelda ever. Not only that, it's one of the best games I've ever played, period.
Absolutely.
It's certainly in my top 5 games of all time. And when I was playing it, I probably would have told you that it was my favorite game I had ever played.
I think you did at one point tell me that.
Yeah.
But I think we should probably do an episode later about our favorite games of all time.
Yeah. So a little spoiler there. Breath of the
Yeah.
Wild's definitely going to be in my top 5.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure it would be Catherine's favorite game of all time, though.
Yes, definitely.
She sank like hundreds of hours into that game.
Oh yeah, hundreds and hundreds.
Yeah. But that game it has a lot to live up to, but I've got faith.
Same. I have no doubt that it's going to be amazing. There's nothing that would disappoint me more than if that game just isn't good. But I don't think that's going to happen.
Nah, I don't either.
So that's all the games.
Yeah, that's all the games in the category.
Are there any games that you can think of that are slated for next year that you're hyped about but just didn't make the list?
Oh, you caught me off guard.
I personally, off the top of my head, I can't think of any that are like huge games like the ones we discussed. There's little things, but
I know that I keep hearing about Naughty Dog putting out some sort of multiplayer game, maybe like another Factions. Yeah.
Yeah.
So if that comes out, I'll definitely check that out.
Yeah, I think that's, it's just all rumors so far. I don't think we've got anything solid about it. But, I love Last of Us. I love the series. Factions isn't something that I'm super interested in, but I'll certainly give it a go if that is a thing. I've also heard that there's a potential Last of Us
a
remake
yeah,
of the first game. The first game's amazing. Doesn't really need to be remade, but heck, I'll take it.
Reach.
Yeah.
I think we could do a whole episode about The Last of Us.
Oh, gosh. Yeah.
Yeah, I would definitely check that out. I mean, the remake or the Factions, I don't care.
Yeah.
Anything Last of Us related, I would play day one.
I could see Factions coming next year, potentially. I don't think if there is a remake that it's going to happen next year. I figure that'll be a 2023 thing at least.
Oh, I'll tell you a game that we haven't talked about is Arceus.
Ooh, yes. I'm surprised that's not on the list.
Yeah, me too. Now that
I'm glad that you brought that up because, I mean, I don't know that I've been more hyped for a Pokemon game than Arceus because it completely is. I mean, it seems to be kind of like Breath of the Wild, where they're really changed up the formula and they're giving us something different. They're taking a risk, and I think that's exactly what Pokemon needs right now. not that I didn't enjoy the most recent, I played Sword and you played Shield,
Yeah,
and I think we both really enjoyed it. But I think Pokemon is way overdue for a shakeup, and I'm excited about it.
Yes, I mean when they first started talking about the Switch Pokemon game, I hoped it would be kind of like what it appears Arceus will be.
Right.
But I think that game probably began development, meaning Sword and Shield, probably just began development a little early for that sort of pivot.
Yep.
In the development cycle. But I'm super excited about that. Trailers look cool, and I will definitely be. I need to get a pre-order for that going eventually. Another game that's coming out for Switch in 2022 is the Mario Rabbids sequel.
Ooh, yes. That'll be great. So you and I had tons of fun playing the Mario plus Rabbids
Yes.
Kingdom Battle game.
Yes.
Now, I've played the main campaign. I don't think you have, but we've played the multiplayer a fair bit together. And
Yeah.
we loved it.
Oh yeah, I loved it. I mean, it took me probably took me all of 20 minutes to be way better at it than you.
Yeah. You were. You figured it out. I think you've played some of those like tactical games.
It's because of XCOM.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And at that point, I don't think I had even played the campaign yet. I think I had only played the multiplayer with you. I think I played the campaign later.
Oh really?
Yeah. So I was pretty fresh into it.
I still don't own it, but I've seen it really cheap several times. I've just never bought it.
Yeah, so that was kind of a new genre for me. I hadn't really played a game like that, but I really enjoyed it. I had a lot of fun playing multiplayer, but the campaign was really good too.
Yeah.
So that's another one that I'm excited about. I see why that one didn't make the list, but I'm excited about it nonetheless.
Definitely.
I'm pretty much excited for anything that's going to be published, by Nintendo on Switch, for the most part, with a few exceptions.
I sure would play any sort of Odyssey sequel too.
Oh man,
That
I would
would be
love
amazing.
that. But we've never gotten a sequel to a 3D Mario game except Galaxy 2.
Right.
So the precedent just isn't there for the most part.
I watched a video from somebody talking about the likelihood of an Odyssey 2. And I don't even know why I brought it up because I'm struggling to remember any of their arguments.
Mm-hmm.
But they seem to think that it could be possible. But they also broke it down like mathematically, like how many years it's been since Odyssey and how many years went by between Galaxy 1 and 2 and things like that. And I'm with you. I really don't think it's going to happen. I think they'll just go with something fresh.
And what I think was the final nail in the coffin was Bowser's Fury.
Yeah.
Because Bowser's Fury was great, and it was way more fleshed out than I expected it to be. I expected it to be some little tiny game.
Uh-huh.
And yes, you can complete what is considered the game. The credits will roll after about 3 hours, and that's a pretty small game. But if you really want to do everything, get all 100 of the cat shines, it's going to take you about 6 hours. It's going to about double that time. And so that's a pretty fleshed out game. So
Yeah.
I think, I don't know if the Odyssey devs were the ones who worked on that game. I'm assuming they are because it was super high quality. But who knows? If they weren't and it was a different team, maybe, who knows? Maybe an Odyssey sequel is coming. But I would be super surprised to see that happen.
Me too. When is that 3D Kirby game coming out?
Oh, yeah. I think that is coming next year.
I'll play that.
I think that's a 2022 thing. Yeah, and I think that's another kind of, again, they're doing to Kirby what they did to Breath of the Wild. They're shaking up the formula, finally doing something new and exciting with the game.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know that it's going to be like a complete open world Breath of the Wild style.
No, I think from what I've seen, it looks sort of level based.
Yeah. It looks Odyssey, an Odyssey-like
Right.
kind of thing.
But that being said, I think a lot of people are tired of the 2D Kirby games, myself included. I played Star Allies. And although I thought it was a fairly high quality game, it really didn't do anything to make Kirby exciting. It was just kind of more of the same. And I think for that reason, I think a lot of people just kind of overlooked it, or kind of looked past it, because I mean, at this point, 2D Kirby hasn't really changed much. So I think doing another 3D Kirby game and really kind of pushing it and doing something sort of risky is, I think, exactly what Kirby needs.
Yeah. I wish they would do something like that with Donkey Kong. Or anything with Donkey Kong. They don't have to break up the formula, because I love Tropical Freeze. But
Would
I would
you
love
rather-
a new mainline Donkey Kong game.
Would you rather see another 2D Donkey Kong, or would you rather see a 3D like Donkey Kong?
Is there a third option where I get both? Because that's what I want. I love Tropical Freeze. It's one of my favorite platformers ever. So I would totally take another 2D Donkey Kong. But I also enjoyed Donkey Kong 64 way back in the day. And I would love to play an updated 3D Donkey Kong.
Right. Well, in terms of the 2D Donkey Kong, we know Retro's working on Metroid Prime 4. So I don't think a 2D Donkey Kong is in the works right now.
Yeah.
But maybe it is. I don't know. That's assuming that Retro's doing it.
Right.
Um,
And that's another game that I'm excited for if it ever comes out, is Metroid Prime 4.
who knows when that one's going to happen, man?
Yeah.
It may come out next year. We never know.
Yeah, that's true. You never know. I mean, it just seems like yesterday that it was completely scrapped and restarted, so who knows? It could come out tomorrow.
Now, I can guarantee you it won't come out tomorrow.
Never say never, Randall.
But, yeah, I would love to see a Donkey Kong game, just because I know there are a lot of people who are fans of the franchise who would like to have another game. We're due for another game, honestly.
Yeah.
It's time, yeah.
It just seems like Donkey Kong gets no respect. I
Well,
mean,
now that Seth Rogen is Donkey
I
Kong,
was just about to bring that up, yeah.
I've heard rumors. Now we're kind of getting off topic here, but I've heard rumors that there's going to be a standalone Donkey Kong movie after this Mario movie.
Really?
That's a rumor I've heard. Now, I'm not saying it's true.
I heard that in the next Guardians of the Galaxy movie, Chris Pratt is actually going to pull double duty. He's going to be Star-Lord, and then at some point they're going to encounter Mario in the middle of the Mario Galaxy era,
Mm-hmm.
and then he's going to join the Guardians.
That's what we need. We need an NCU crossover.
Yep, yep.
That's what we need.
That would slap.
And Chris Pratt will just make all the money and do all the things.
He can just voice every character for all I care.
Now, we certainly should make a video sometime talking about the Mario movie. Maybe once we get another trailer, or once we get, a trailer in general.
I can't wait to see a trailer. I just want to hear some of those voices.
Yeah, because I have some thoughts on that, but we'll get to that.
Yeah.
But in terms of, most anticipated games for next year, let's kind of finish this off by talking about what game we think is going to win at the Game Awards. What game is going to be the most anticipated game? What is everybody going to vote for?
Breath of the Wild 2.
You think it's just that simple? It's just going to be Breath of the Wild 2?
Yep.
I think I kind of agree with you. But let's just say, for argument's sake, what game might give Breath of the Wild 2 a run for its money?
Ragnarok.
I mean, you're quick on the draw here, Daniel.
Yeah, because those games are both going to be great, I hope. And I think most people agree that they are excited for those games. But it's a strong category, I will say.
It's a strong category. My thought is not everyone is a diehard PlayStation fan. So maybe they're not as excited about Ragnarok as you and I are.
Well, that's true. I mean, they can't.
What about those Xbox people who have never played a God of War? They're not excited about Ragnarok.
Well, we need to.
Wouldn't they
we need
be?
to do what we can to. We need to promote some outreach to those people.
Wouldn't they be way more excited about Elden Ring or Starfield?
So Elden Ring is kind of a Souls kind of thing, right?
As far as I know, yeah.
So that's pretty niche. Like, I mean, I know it's popular, but it's also like hard as nails, and not everybody's into that. I would say way more people are into God of War, but I may be just pulling that out of thin air.
Right.
And Starfield is just a brand new IP, so
Right. But
and it's Xbox exclusive.
now it is.
Yeah.
But yeah. I just think for argument's sake, you never know. I don't think that it's 100% like definitely gonna be Breath of the Wild 2.
I mean, I don't think it's 100%. I think it's probably 110%.
I'll admit, I will be surprised if the sequel to Breath of the Wild isn't the pick for the most anticipated game.
I would too. But I'm not disappointed. I wouldn't be disappointed in any winner because I really am pumped for the whole category.
Yeah.
I'm just taking a hard stance for the sake of making a hot take.
Well, and I think that
Even though I don't think it's a hot take at all.
the more that whatever audience is listening to us, if there is an audience listening to us, the more they get to know us, they'll find out that, we play games on PlayStation, on Xbox, and on Switch. But at the end of the day, maybe deep down in our cores, we might be, Nintendo fans at heart.
Oh, absolutely. I grew up a Nintendo kid. I mean,
I did too.
Yeah.
I did too, yeah. So
I mean, it's.
we might be a little biased.
I am a little biased. I will admit that. I mean, I am true blue Nintendo, but I'm also. I do not hesitate to criticize Nintendo when they do something that makes me mad.
No.
So,
But what I'm getting at is that I think that the sequel to Breath of the Wild will win this category, but I don't know how much of that is my bias speaking. I just don't know.
yeah,
I could see it going to another game, but I will be surprised.
oh, me too. Your bias may be speaking, but I think it will agree with everyone else's bias also.
Because I could use that same argument, we talked about a minute ago about, not everyone's a PlayStation fan, so they may not be excited about Ragnarok, but then not everyone's a Nintendo fan. Not everyone's got a Switch or wants to Switch or plays a game on a Switch.
True.
And that being said, even the people who own Switches, okay, I don't know how many copies of Breath of the Wild were sold, but I think it's like something like 20 million.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Yeah.
And we're
more
getting
than
up,
one or two.
And we're getting up close to like 100 million Switches being sold. So that's like,
It's pretty good percentage.
yeah. But that's still, even then, we're kind of looking at 1 out of every 4, 1 out of every 5 Switch owners has even played Breath of the Wild.
Do you think more than 20-ish% of PS4 owners played God of War
No.
or Horizon Zero Dawn?
No.
We know the percentage of people who played Starfield is low.
It's 0.
Yeah, the math checks out.
The math checks out on that one. But yeah, so
And think about how many people we know, your wife included, who really weren't like gamers.
Yeah.
But they got a hold of Breath of the Wild and played it for hundreds of hours.
yeah,
I mean, I can think of Catherine. I can think of Tatum.
and we've
there's
got
probably
tons of
some more.
we have some friends who are. I know a number of friends who have sunk hundreds of hours into that game, but then
Absolutely.
don't really game otherwise.
Yeah.
I
Breath
do.
of the Wild did that to people.
Oh yeah, definitely. For sure. And I think that the importance of Breath of the Wild shouldn't be downplayed. And if I had to put money on it, I would say that Breath of the Wild, the sequel's going to win this category. But I don't know how much I'd be willing to bet. Because the truth is, I am a little biased towards Nintendo.
Yeah. Depends on how well these gigs pay.
It is.
But yeah, I mean, I think that's about all we have to say on our most anticipated games of 2022.
Right now, as it stands right now, in terms of what games have been announced.
That's right.
Yeah. So, heck, if you've listened to this point in the video, you're pretty invested. So maybe leave us a comment. Let us know what your, most anticipated game of next year is going to be.
Absolutely. That would be super cool.
Yeah. We might as well get some engagement going, right?
And let us know why Breath of the Wild sequel is going to win.
Yeah. Well, until next time, guys, this has been Gaming Gig.
Peace out.